Hello, everyone. Kathy Rose here, and I'm here to talk to you about the astrological forecast and planetary patterns for November 2022. Now, if you've been a long-time subscriber to my YouTube channel, you know that this is a different format. I am not sitting in our studio, and this isn't professionally edited by my wonderful husband. Instead, I'm doing it on Zoom with a little bit of a slideshow to give you some visuals. We're doing that because I felt the frequency of change. I felt like I wanted to stir it up a bit. And we had some technical issues too with the equipment. So this frequency of change, which is very strong for all of us, is now showing up in my videos. Isn't that interesting? So what I'm going to do is give you the overview in a second, and we're going to dive into these patterns. But before, let me just guide your attention to the mandala that's on the screen. I did a mandala for each and every sign, trying to capture the frequency and the energy of the sign. And you notice with Scorpio, because November is the Scorpio month, we have reds and it's deep. And there's kind of a sense of passion and intensity with this energy. So let's go into the overview for November and talk about the themes. The planetary themes for this month allow us to examine our need for control and security. We get the opportunity to embrace adventure in life and to look at that frequency of adventure. We get to understand challenge from a learning perspective and not just gripe about it, but get to say, well, when challenge happens, what am I learning? What is it teaching me? And we really get the opportunity to embrace freedom and the maverick spirit. All of that is so strong and powerful as we go through November. Now, what we have on screen right now is the full moon total eclipse in Taurus chart. And there's an image that I chose to go with it that sort of encapsulates the energy of that eclipse. So the full moon is on November 8th. And this is a potent eclipse. You know, we had the new moon eclipse in Scorpio on October 25th. And if you watched that video, you know that in that video, I talked about some of the same things I'm going to talk about again here for November for this full moon. And that's because the planetary patterns are very, very similar. But this one's a total eclipse, so it's super strong. Now, if you don't know how to read a horoscope, if you look at this chart and you don't know what you're looking at, don't fret about it. Just ignore it and look at the painting. Look at the art image that I chose to go with this and absorb that. If you do know what you're looking at with the chart, then let me just point out this gigantic red T. This is called a T-square aspect. That's what's important about this chart. We have the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Scorpio opposite Moon conjunct Uranus with a nodal axis there, of course, squaring Saturn. Now, Scorpio, Aquarius, because Saturn is in Aquarius, and Taurus are all fixed signs. And the fixed signs are the ones that yearn to have a sense of control and focus and planning and familiarity with routine. That security is derived from the familiar. The fixed signs are the least accepting of change. Change is a little harder for a fixed sign because there is that sense of wanting to create stability. Well, we have Uranus as part of this, and Uranus is trying to shake things up. Uranus has a 7-year transit through Taurus. It started in 2018. And now it's making a really potent statement. All of 2021 it did, and all of 2022, because Uranus has an ongoing square happening with Saturn. And what this is saying is that we are in a dynamic period of time where our sense of security, our sense of foundation is being jiggled. And it's doing that to invite us to get out of stagnation, to invite us to get out of stale energy. It's the feeling you get if you have clutter in your house and you decide to clear it out. and you feel life force that flows through the house after you simplify. It's the same thing happening in our world right now and in our life. The image I chose, you'll see it on the right side of the screen, is an original painting that my dear friend Liza did, and I helped her with it. We usually work in tandem together for these images. I only did a small portion of this. I just touched up some things. She did the main image, but it's Buddha sitting in a tree where there's a portal in the middle of a tree and all the root system that's down below. It's very grounded. It's very stable. It's very solid. But what's important about this is the peacefulness, the nowness. And that is the main theme that we're trying to learn right now, is be in the now. That if we are present right now, in this moment, acknowledging what is wonderful, then we are given information exactly when we need it, because all of our atoms are here. So that is one of the main messages from that eclipse. But what we get to do is examine our need for control and security. Now, on screen is a meme that we have created, and it says, persist or let go. Sometimes trying to break through closed doors just gets you bloody knuckles. Learning when to release and let go is absolutely a superpower. That's what we get to look at right now. When do we pivot? When do we go a new direction? When do we accept change? When do we just let go and allow a new solution to come in, which is what is next on screen? This is a quote from my good friend Pete Sanders. He's the founder of the Free Soul organization. I taught the Free Soul techniques for years, and I still teach them. He said something very, very wise, and it absolutely addresses the issues from this full moon eclipse in Taurus. He said, if we tie our satisfaction level to only one possible answer, we limit how the universe can send us solutions. So what is taking place right now is we need to release rigidity. We need to examine entrenched beliefs or entrenched patterns and try something new, because we don't want to limit how the universe can send us solutions, which then flows into this next thought, which is embracing the adventure of life. There is no better time to be thinking about adventure, expansion, and just that awareness of getting bigger than right now in November. And asking yourself, again, as I mentioned earlier, is your routine stale and stagnant? It is so important right now that you enliven it with maybe doing something brand new, doing something different, or going on an adventure. I love this photo. This was a photo taken by Kyle LaFerriere, who captured this image when they were on a photo shoot, but it's actually my daughter and her boyfriend, which is why I love it so much. But it is an excellent photo, and they're backpacking, they're on an adventure. And of course, if I go on an adventure, that's what I want to do. I want to hike through the woods. I want to go to Sedona and hike through the vortexes. And my soul is craving that. Now, we can't always afford going on a trip to go on a deep woods hike in the backcountry, but we can find adventure every single day in small ways. And what we need to do right now is ask ourselves, where do we need to expand? What do we need to explore? And where do we need to get out of the routine? You will be healthier and happier if you engage in some level of adventure. And sometimes adventure means facing your vulnerabilities. Doing something new means you may not be really, really good at it right away. So we have to practice, but you want to try. The other thing, real quick, is that we all have peaks and valleys in life. We all have moments where we are on top of the world doing extremely well. And then we have moments where we're challenged, where there's pressure, where things might be falling apart, where we have to make adjustments. Peaks and valleys are normal in life. But what I think is important is to remember that every valley is followed by a peak. And in the valley part where we're going through challenges and pressures, we actually get the opportunity to have a breakthrough, to come up with new techniques that will lead us to the next peak. And if it wasn't for the developmental tension of the valley, we might not come up with that new awareness. So you can change the concept of a valley to a pre-peak. But there might be unexpected things that happen in life that are challenges. And it is how you react to it that's important. Valleys are very, very productive times of life. The other thing about November is to embrace freedom in the maverick spirit. That again is that signature energy of Moon Uranus conjunct in that eclipse chart, because you have to remember eclipses are strong for several months after they happen, especially a total eclipse. So what I would pose to you, because we are so bombarded with propaganda and we are so bombarded with specific ways we think we're supposed to believe and behave based on the groups that we are affiliated, question groupthink. It doesn't mean you have to challenge the group you're in. It just says know your own mind. Make sure you are thinking for yourself and not just absorbed into the group, adopting what the group believes, whether that is a political group, whether that is a spiritual group, a religious group, whatever it happens to be. Know your own mind. That is why this eclipse has Moon Uranus conjunct. Okay, one last thing. The sun enters Sagittarius on November 22nd. Now look at the difference in this mandala. The Sagittarian energy is so very different than Scorpio. It's lighter, it's more extroverted, it's more dynamic. And we have a new moon in Sagittarius on November 23rd. I will go more in depth on that when I do my next new moon video. But what I want to say is that new moon in Sagittarius carries a specific vibe. Part of the vibe that is ongoing right now is to learn that we can be connected with our intuition and with spirituality and with abstraction and with knowingness and with flow and with faith. And we can also be logical. And in this new moon chart, we see this square, this 90-degree aspect between Mars, which happens to be transiting in Gemini, which will be doing that until March, squaring Neptune in Pisces. And at the time of the new moon, Jupiter will be in Pisces also. And what this is saying to me is to trust you are connected to higher dimensions and your higher self, and you can receive profound, intuitive answers. You can get your own answers. And it is so important to trust that and then logically figure out what to do with it. Most people do it the other way around, though. They get an intuitive answer and then they logic it away. They think about it too much and they doubt it and they question it instead of going, yes, what I got through my higher senses is accurate. Now what do I do with it? Okay. And that's going to be very potent during that new moon and more. And I'll talk about that when I do that video. I want to leave you with a key thought for November. And that is this concept of choosing your reality, choosing how you think, actually mindfully choosing it and declaring it. And the affirmation that I think would be really great for November is saying, today I choose peace. When you say today, you are bringing it back to this moment right now, in this second, and the reality that's happening now. And then choosing the frequency of peace, which is not struggling, not trying to control, not getting out of balance emotionally, but relaxing. Today, I choose peace. Relax into whatever happens to you all through this month and coming up in this next segment of time. And know that if you relax, you do that early image I had with Buddha sitting in the tree. You create stillness. Stillness opens the door for you to get answers. Stillness is important in November, and you can achieve that by choosing peace. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I bless you and I send you so much love during this very important month with that eclipse, triggering the way for all of us to grow, all of us to have our own adventure, and all of us to move to a new frequency where we release what is stale and we embrace change. Okay, bye for now.